So, welcome to episode 20 of the HazMat podcast. Very special episode. So, today we're interviewing you, Chris. Interrogating you a bit. Let's see. Got some questions for you to answer about the company, how it started.
Yep.
How everything went. So,
lovely to be here. Yes, we're celebrating 20 episodes today, which is a bit of a milestone. Thank you, Jacques, for all the work you've put into the podcast. And
most welcome.
like we've mentioned, I'm sure this will get more traction as we progress along. But looking forward to 20 more episodes. And looks like for today I might be in the hot seat.
A little bit, yeah. So, let's jump right into it. How did HazMat find its beginning? Was it a long-time dream or just a golden opportunity at the right time?
Well, that's a great question. I would say a few years ago I didn't even know what asbestos was. It was certainly not anything I've ever envisioned doing, but it happened to be a set of circumstances that played out. I had a reasonable career in the police for about 9 years, and I started to feel a bit like a hamster in a wheel, and I started to get a little bit disillusioned with that profession. So I branched out and had a go at real estate, and just long enough to realise that it wasn't for me. And then I was telling my best friend about, not sure what I'm going to do. I don't really feel fulfilled. And he put me in touch with his business partner at the time, who was just opening HazMat. So he already had HazMat, the brand. He had HazMat, the idea for a removal company, and had just recently moved to Wellington and was looking for some help to get things going. And so we worked together for a while on that, and eventually my best friend and I bought into that company, and sure enough, we ended up progressing quite a bit. I still feel like we're just getting warmed up, and the way things have worked out, the business partner left the company, but my best friend and I are still the owners, and here we are.
Question 2, what did you do for a living before HazMat? You kind of answered that, so how did your career start out, say, directly out of college?
Yeah.
When you were young?
Well, in terms of background, I went to school, did retail, got into retail management pretty quickly, left school and did that. I suppose I've naturally, for 20-something years now, I've been a manager type person, a leader, and also moved from retail into the construction sector. I worked for a while in a company that installed petrol systems and fuel tanks in the ground, and drainage systems and things like that. So I sort of cut my teeth in construction doing that. I naturally gravitated off the tools to more of an administration type role. Then I gave working for myself back then a go when I was a teenager, and I had a sort of a home handyman company for a couple of years. I managed to pay the bills, but didn't really progress beyond that. I didn't quite have the maturity at that level to run a business, and especially being it was a company of one, and so it was quite difficult back then, but I learned a lot of lessons along the way. After that is when I joined the police, and as I say, I had a 9-year career in the police, ended up more on a leadership side at the ground level for a while, and the rest is history now.
Okay. What has HazMat given you that all these previous occupations haven't or couldn't?
Great question, mate. I have a huge sense of accomplishment and a huge sense of satisfaction that what we have now we've built as a team, as you know, and you're a big part of that team, but also the fact that I feel I've been in charge of my own fate to a degree. I've had a bit of a say in how things play out, and day to day I live under my own power, so that's quite an achievement in itself. And I don't think I had this sense of accomplishment or fulfillment in any other role I've ever had.
What does a typical day look like to you?
Well, as you know, I start very early. I like to wake up at 3:30, and I need to do that for a couple of reasons, and it's just second nature to me, but I still feel that successful people and good, strong leaders get up early in the morning every day. And so I make sure I get up early. I like to work out, so I'll hit the gym, which is actually in my garage, which is pretty lucky for me. I'll pack my lunch. I will make sure my bed is made and everything is ready at home. The dog is fed. Then I'll get on the road, and I travel for over an hour, about an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes to work here where we are here in Lower Hutt. We have a meeting in this very room with the team. We go through the objectives of the day. We sort of debrief on how the previous day went, and we lay out the plan for the day, and then I'll let the team go and prepare, and then I'm in the office usually for a while. If I'm not invoicing, I'm quoting. If I'm not quoting, I'm paying bills. If I'm not paying bills, I'm doing the paperwork that we need to have done for our jobs. There's a lot of office work to do, but also try and get out as often as I can to look at jobs and to have meetings with our suppliers and things of that nature as well.
So what's your end goal for HazMat as a business? If basically boss level HazMat? The final instance of it.
Well, I've set out to make sure that HazMat is the number one asbestos removal company, at least in the Wellington region. And so beyond that, that's an ongoing battle as it is. And I feel like there's no specific defined goal, not to make X amount of sales, not to complete X amount of jobs, but it's to be the best. And so how do you measure that? I'm still trying to find out, but I guess I'm saying I don't really have an end goal per se, except that we keep perfecting what we're doing now.
Keep climbing. Yeah, not fair. Do you see yourself moving on to something else one day, apart from HazMat?
That's a real good question. I really don't have a defined direction to go post HazMat. I feel like at least people I respect don't really have a plan B, and so at the moment I'm just focused on plan A, and I put everything into that. Plan B will I'm sure reveal itself when the time is right, but at the moment I still feel like there's a lot of asbestos to get rid of, and that HazMat can play a big part in that, and we've still got a lot of room to grow and perfect what we do.
Yeah. What's the proudest HazMat accomplishment so far?
Proudest accomplishment?
And this is from HazMat started, not necessarily recent.
Yeah. There's been a lot of accomplishments over the years, and I suppose what I could tell you, when I feel the most proud is watching our staff grow and develop and reach milestones in their careers, whether they get promoted to a supervisor, whether they help me launch a podcast. One gentleman today, I won't mention his name, but just as an example, he hasn't driven the guys to a job before. He has got a license, but he hasn't driven the guys to a job before, and hasn't driven the boss's car. But he put his hand up and said he would do it because we needed it to be done. And so those feelings of pride I get when people do things like that, go into their own, what would you call it, when you challenge yourself?
It's kind of stepping into your own, I guess.
Yeah, stepping into your own. Those people that step up to the plate. I really enjoy that. So that's probably one of my proudest accomplishments, is every day when I see examples of that.
Mm. So obviously where there's good, there's bad. What's the most harrowing thing HazMat has gone through?
I tell you, and I'm sure a lot of small business can sympathise here, but we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot over the years. We've had equipment stolen. We've had fraud. We've had willful damage. We've had a couple of injuries that have happened on jobs. We've had illnesses, all sorts of things, but we're still here and we're still swinging, and that's what's the most important thing. But in terms of the most harrowing, I would say it would be COVID, when COVID came along.
Fair enough, That was a hard one.
Yeah. We're running a business and we're doing reasonably well at the time, and I have to say, as the boss and the leader, when the first announcement came out that we were locking down as a country for at least 4 weeks, I think it was, I had no idea if we were going to survive. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Something I didn't think of before, but did any of HazMat workers count as essential workers when the first load of people went back to work?
Yeah, that's a great question. We went to, I think we may have applied to do cleaning or decontamination of workplaces, and that would count us as essential workers. But that was very last minute. We started to advertise that as a service, and we didn't really get any bites. So in terms of what we did, we shut down like everybody, and it was a very troubling time. I mean, looking back, I'm sure there's not as much to worry about. I did do a lot of damage, but certainly, at the time I had to I brought everyone in for a meeting. I told them we're shutting down. I told them that we've got this and that we'll be fine. But in the back of my mind, I didn't know. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really did, to be honest. So, yeah.
Times. Last question. With the current economic climate and the industry fluctuating frequently with stuff like COVID and everything else, how do you keep HazMat on top? Well, flowing.
Good question. Well, I think it really starts every morning with getting out of bed and putting your big boy pants on and being determined to make the most out of the day. And that seems to trickle down to everybody that works here. And I hope it rubs off on our guys too. But how do we keep going? We stay resilient. We try and move with the times a little bit. We're looking at rolling out other services we can do beside from just asbestos. But it's having a never give up attitude, I think. That's what keeps us going. And we'll fight tooth and nail right to the end, whatever happens. So, yeah.
That's important. So that's all I've got for you, Chris. If you want to lock up the episode.
Yeah, hey, thank you, Jacques. Appreciate it. Great hosting, by the way.
You're welcome.
To support our channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you all for 20 episodes. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been a hell of an experience, but I've enjoyed it. I hope that people get some useful information out of this. And we will see you next week with another episode of the HazMat Podcast.
Episode 21.
Thank you very much.